given the schedule, okay, it's a different challenge in 2022 with a different schedule. Here we got live action.
Yeah, this is Imaikalani deVault, the surfer from Maui. Love this kid surfing. Super smooth, very progressive. Already had big scores in Championship Tour heats in years gone by in wildcard efforts. So looking forward to seeing him bring some of that to his performance here at Bells Beach. But really popular surfer back home at the end of last season. Nat Young, who has had a runner-up finish here at the Rip Curl Pro Bells Beach in the past. But Connor loves a right-hand point break. Let's see if he can put this one to use. And just has so much speed as he hammers that oncoming section. And has the speed to project down the line, find some clean face once again. Notice that onshore has kind of kicked in again, and there is a bit more bump on the face for the competitors as Connor looks to drive his board through these last couple of turns. Just squeaks them in. But yeah, definitely a bit of a shift up in the conditions there, Bugs.
Challenging this incoming tide as well as the wind kicking back up, Ronnie.
Yeah, this was the wave, Bugs. Just talk us through what you were referencing before.
Well, look at all the chop on the face. I mean, he's really finding it hard to find a clean section, and he's surfing it well. He's had to get his hair out of his face a bit. And this turn here, that's pretty good. Pretty quick and a little bit flickier than he normally does it. He didn't get the carve on, but I think he's thinking down the line the whole way here. And he's kind of down the valley. That's a leg burner.
We're going to cross to Morgan in a moment, but just watching this next set roll through and looking to get himself into position is Nat Young. Great to see Nat back in that CT jersey full time. And goes to that just devastating backhand. He always looks very at home on a right, especially one with a kind of a slopier transition than your typical beach break or point.
Look back at the video postcards from Morris, but let's take a look at this replay right here of Nat Young, and this is a 4.93, Bugs, and Nat just fired on the backhand.
Yeah, he does look good here, and you know, I mean, he comes from Santa Cruz. I mean, this is a similar kind of conditions to what he'd see.
A lot of different types of backhand moves. Imai goes searching for a second score. Nice release in the tail. There's some of that progression that we spoke about earlier.
And now we can take a look at Imaikalani deVault. Ron, you were talking about the progression and the quickness of this young Hawaiian, and this is really going to be displayed on this final turn right there, throwing.
Making the contrast between those opening rides, I mean, no one has worked harder for a 4-point ride than Connor Coffin. He really had to, you know, toil with that wave. Imaikalani got a 5.83 for a really short, sharp ride.
And here he goes again. Seems to just be settling into the pace of Winky. Got a little tripped up on that last move, but he'll be feeling all right with that one. Just the second surfer that we've seen qualify from Maui. Big inspiration for him was Dusty Payne. Obviously had some serious chops at pipe as well.
Yeah, Imai on the replay, you can see the quickness right here. He's got the KT surfboard under his feet, composite construction. Made in Maui, a lot of windsurf technology actually in those boards, but it was unfortunate. On the timing here, Bugs, I mean, in slow motion, you can see the quickness off the top. Got a good start, but did not get the finish.
No, he didn't get the finish, but there wasn't much on offer at the finish either, Kaipo. I mean, it would have just sort of put a little bow on this ride. But I don't think he missed out on too many scoring points in this last part, but he probably got docked a little bit.
And we'll see if one of these young Californians can break through. But Hawaii's had a fantastic relationship with this location too. So many winners on the men's and women's side, but we'll get back to that as we see Nat on the attack again. One thing I love about this guy's backhand is he doesn't pivot off his big vertical hits. He really projects and slides across that lip. And he unleashes his fins with just power. He smashes the lip and then slides.
Yeah,
Nat Young.
Yeah, this wave by Nat. I love this wave by Nat Young. And Ronnie, you said it. I mean, he doesn't pivot. He projects down the line, always down the line surfing. And he's done that with such a slick ride.
Ditches those fins and loosens them up. As Connor goes looking for a decent backup score as well. Or maybe even his best number. And this one is flowing nicely, generating some speed now. Plugs a nice little hit on the end section, and we've got some numbers on the way.
That was a great exchange. Nat really tore into his, and that was Connor's best effort by far. So that's going to tighten things up here, because leading into this wave, Imaikalani had the best wave with that 5.83. So that's going to make these things very, very tight. All their other scores are in the 4s.
Yeah, you can see on the replay, Connor Coffin, that rail game, a little bit of release there, come around the section, just paced approach through here, and there's a classic carve that we're expecting from Connor Coffin. Really, really smooth in his approach, and just something that was developed on those, Santa Barbara point breaks and translating really well.
Elimination round, heat 3 unfolding, and Imaikalani, well, he's been surfing very well, but his rivals have put some scores on the board, and he needs to get himself something better than a 4.53. Nat Young up at the moment. Good looking wall standing up here. And Nat really starting to put the pressure on. Just waiting patiently for this wave to stand up. Nice hit there. Plenty of power. Again, the timing is spot on. And what a combination as he finishes that one off on the inside. That'll score well with the panel, you'd think. Let's dive into the replay, Bugs.
Yeah, Nat on his backhand. He got that 717. He's backed it up nicely here. This wave is not quite as clean as his other one, but he's looking for this section to come square off the bottom. So Nat is going into his backhand repertoire now, and he can just jam them off one after the other. And I dare say that'll improve on that 493.
Connor Coffin on the outside. Loads up with speed. Love those just racy floaters to find the open face again. This section standing up nicely, and Connor gets a decent combo of his own through that inside section.
Imaikalani must be just waiting for a good one, huh?
Yeah, this replay on Connor, you can see him just chasing it, right? Down the line. Gets a little arc there, but really has to project and get there. But I like the fact that he got the combo at the...
And Kalani's mum drove down to the site. They heard about it on the radio, drove down there and wrote a check to replace all that equipment out of his own pocket, $8,500. So really giving back in a big way, Imai, and we love to hear stories like that. Nat Young, meanwhile, just trying to up the ante and put more pressure on his rivals. Imaikalani is going to need a score now of 5.01 because Connor's just put away a 4.8.
Here's a replay, Bugs, of Nat Young on his last.
Yeah, this wave here, I don't think it's going to go into his top 2, but it's just keeping alive, and he kept Imai off that way.
Hawaii just seems to have a great relationship here, going back to the first really professional event. It was Jeff Hackman getting the victory. As we see Connor, wow, just throwing everything at that big single turn. Almost ripped it around.
X factor right here is the ocean, and here's Imai's chance, Ronnie.
Let's see what he can do. Just under 4 minutes to go. He still might have a couple of shots at it, but he might only need this wave. A couple of clean turns on the outside. Gets up on top of the foam on that section. Gives that tail a little kick. Has a look at the clock, and we'll probably be thinking, scurry back out there because that one's going to be 50-50. You look at Morgan's run last year, and he's doing his best surfing we've ever seen him do in a heat.
Well, here's another look at it.
Yeah.
First turn was pretty dynamic. Second turn was pretty good and had to really force that final turn. Yeah, it felt like he was surfing for a 5 on that wave. Here we go. Oh, just a quick one. But yeah, it felt like Imai was surfing for a 5. And I think sometimes when you surf for that mid-range score,
the numbers are starting to come through. They look pretty reasonable. He only needs a 5.01. He's up again. He's not taking his chances, but have a look at that. The result has already come in, and Imai, if he was thinking it was a 50-50 chance he was going to get the score, he wanted to really make sure of it with that last section.
And that is one stoked Hawaiian, Ronnie.
It sure is. Yeah, well, it was certainly on the line, wasn't it? It was right there. A couple of judges said no, and a few of them gave him the nod. The average was enough, 5.1. Imai is moving on through to the third round along with Nat Young.